Reading from Luke 26 to 34. Now as they led him away, they laid hold on a certain man, Simon a Cyrene, who was coming in from the country, and on him they laid the cross that he might bear it after Jesus. And a great multitude of people followed him, and women who also mourned and lamented him. But Jesus turned to them and said, Daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me, but weep for yourselves and for your children. For indeed the days are coming in which they will say, Blessed are the barren, wombs that have never bore, and breasts that have never nursed. Then they will begin to say to the mountains, Fall on us, and to the hills, cover us. For if they do these things in the green wood, what will be done in the dry? There were also 2 other criminals led with him to be put to death. And when they had come to the place called Calvary, there they crucified him and the criminals, one on the right hand and the other on the left. Then Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do. And they divided his garments and cast lots.
Jesus. Women in the Bible. Jesus' treatment of women was very different. The extremely low status that the Greek, Roman, and Jewish women had for centuries has radically affected by the appearance of Jesus Christ. His actions and teachings raised the status of women to new heights, often to the dismay of his friends and enemies. By word and deed, he went against the ancient, taken for granted beliefs and practices that defined women as socially, intellectually, and spiritually inferior. The humane and respectful way Jesus treated and responded to the Samaritan woman at the well, recorded in John 4, may not appear unusual to readers in today's Western culture. Yet what he did was extremely unusual, even radical. He ignored the Jewish anti-Samaritan prejudice along with prevailing view that saw women as inferior beings. So we can understand why his disciples were amazed to find him talking to women in public. Can we even imagine how it must have stunned this woman for the Messiah to reach out to her and offer her living water for her thirsty soul? Among Jesus' closest friends were Mary, Martha, and Lazarus, who entertained him at their home. Martha assumed the traditional female role of preparing a meal for Jesus, her guest, while her sister Mary did what only men would do, namely, learn from Jesus' teachings. Mary was the cultural deviant, but so was Jesus, because he violated the law of his day about speaking to women. By teaching Mary spiritual truths, he violated another law, which said, Let the words of the law be burned rather than taught to women. If a man teaches his daughter-in-law, it is as though he taught her parables and making them heroes. He talked about the woman who searched and found her lost coin. He spoke of the woman who was unrelenting in the presence of the unjust judge, who honored her for her persistence. He spoke of the widow who dropped all the money she had into the temple treasury and praised her for doing so, and he was not ashamed. Sisters, take your high place. This is God's view of woman. But that's not all. Your Lord allowed an unclean woman to touch the hem of his garment, and he was not ashamed. In fact, he praised her for it. He also gave the Canaanite woman, who was viewed as a dog in the eyes of Israel, one of the highest compliments he ever gave anyone. He also healed her daughter, and he was not ashamed. In the Lord's last hours on this earth, he stayed in the small village called Bethany. It was there that he would spend his last days before he gave his life on Calvary. In Bethany, 2 women whom Jesus loved had their home, Mary and Martha. They were his friends, and they received him, and he was not ashamed. Jesus cared for, loved, and respected the women in his life up to the very last moments of his life on earth. He honored them, comforted them, praised them, and treasured them so much that when he rose again from the dead, the first faces he met, the first eyes that were laid upon him, were the eyes of women. And it was to them that he gave the privilege of announcing his resurrection. Honor the women in your life. Jesus showed us how. And keep your sticks on the ice.